Hello guys, welcome to my channel. The less is more. So according to the name of our channel, I am discussing only one article in just one video. So today I will discuss an editorial from Hindustan Times. So today the topic is same-sex marriage. Let's directly go into the editorial. The the topic is, or the title of the editorial is, same-sex marriage is a demand for dignity. So the people or individuals from same-sex marriage are demand from same sex, they are doing marriage, and for that they are demanding dignity from society. They are fighting for the dignity. So starting an editorial on September 6, 2018, when the Supreme Court read down section 377 of the Indian Penal Code and decriminalized the lives of countless lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex and asexual people. I was in the courtroom. So the author here is Akkai Padmashali. She is saying that she was present in the courtroom when Supreme Court read down the section 377 of Indian Penal Code, which is decriminalizing the lives of countless lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex and asexual people. The apex court decision to scrap the repressive law that had been used against my friends and I at every turn imbued me with hope and the aspiration of better life. So this decision of the apex court to scrap the repressive law which was used against this author and her some of friends, it gives hope for a better life. It is this desire of dignity that drove me. It is this desire of dignity that drove me and 30 other individuals from our community to stand before the same court 5 years later, seeking equal recognition of our relationship. So now they are asking for a equal recognition of their relationships, right? This demand for legalizing same-sex marriage is not only just but also aligns with our constitutional rights to equality, dignity and intimate expression, which are damaged by denying LGBTQIA people the right to marry who they choose, right? So they are demanding for legalizing same-sex marriage, and is not only just but also aligned with the constitutional rights like equality, dignity, intimate expression, etc., and which are mostly damaged by denying these people right to marry who they choose. Our ask for a life of dignity stands on the shoulders of 3 judicial rulings. So their ask for a life of एक मिनट guys. Okay, sorry. Our ask for a life of dignity stands on the shoulders of 3 judicial rulings. In Puttaswamy versus Union of India, the apex court held that the sanctity of marriage, the liberty of procreation, the choice of family life and the dignity of being are matters that concern every individual, irrespective of social strata or economic well-being. So, in the Puttaswamy versus Union of India case, the apex court held that sanctity of marriage, the liberty of procreation, the choice of family life, and the dignity of being are matters that concern every individual and irrespective of social strata or economic well-being. The pursuit of happiness is founded upon autonomy and dignity. Both are essential attributes of privacy that makes no distinction between individuals. And autonomy and dignity are attributes of privacy and does not make any distinction between individuals, that these person or these group of community are are given some autonomy and dignity, while these group of community cannot have this kind of autonomy and dignity. So these made no distinction. In Navtej Johar versus Union of India, the top court said that same-sex relationships. The second ruling in Navtej Johar versus Union of India, the top court said that same-sex relationships could not be discriminated against, and the law must work towards achieving equal protection. In Navtej Johar versus Union of India case, what court has said? Let's see. Same-sex relationships. This is same-sex relationships could not be discriminated against, and the law must work towards achieving equal protection. So they could not be discriminated against, same-sex marriage. Then in another third ruling, in Nalsa versus Union of India, the court pointed out that at the time Indian law only recognized male and female genders assigned at birth, affecting laws related to marriage, adoption, inheritance, succession, taxation and welfare. So in Nalsa versus Union of India case, court has also said what? That Indian law only recognizes male and female genders, affecting laws related to marriage, adoption, inheritance, succession, taxation and welfare. So in the laws related to these topics, only male and female are recognized, and no other these kind of people, I mean LGBTQ, they are not recognized in these kind of laws. So the judgment held that this restrictive understanding of a person was violative of Article 14 of the Constitution, which applies to all persons, including hijras or transgender individuals, who are entitled to legal protection and the same civil and citizenship rights as another citizen in areas such as employment, healthcare and education. So in Nalsa versus Union of India case, court has said that restrictive understanding of a person is violative of Article 14, and which applies to all persons, including hijras and transgenders individuals, right, who are also entitled to legal protection and employment opportunities in healthcare, education, etc. So they are also entitled to have citizenship rights. Using these judicial principles, the Constitution became the basis of challenging arbitrary laws that limit marriage as a right restricted to a biological man with a biological woman. So these judicial principles, by using these principles, Constitution became the basis for challenging arbitrary laws that limit what? As a right restricted to a biological man and biological woman. So the limitation of marriage to biological man and biological woman is challenged before the Supreme Court. The Union of India justifies its opposition to marriage equality on the basis that it is the legislature which reflects the collective wisdom of the nation, which is based upon cultural ethos, social standards, and such other factors defining acceptable human behavior, regulates, permits, or prohibits human relations. So, the Union of India has justified its opposition. How? He said that marriage equality, or he said that on the basis marriage equality, they have opposed the marriage equality on the basis what? that the legislature is the reflects the collective wisdom of the nation, right? So it should be the legislature who will define uh, the cultural ethos or social standards, right? So one must make 2 points here. So sorry, such a stand shows no appreciation of the values enshrined in the constitution. So here author is saying the stand of whom? Union of India, opposing the marriage equality on the basis of legislature which reflect the collective wisdom. So such a stand shows no appreciation of the values which are already enshrined in the constitution. One must make 2 points here. First, it is far from obvious that cultural ethos of India runs contrary to the demands for marriage equality. A magnificent history of same-sex love in India by Ruth Vanita and Salim Kidwai documents a rich cultural narrative of non-normative relationships that goes back to 1000 BC. So, it is not that our cultural ethos of India runs contrary to the demands of this marriage equality. How? Because in the cultural history, there is a example of same-sex love by Ruth Vanita and Salim Kidwai. Second point is, even if there was a cultural ethos opposing same-sex marriage, the government should be cognizant that this ignores core constitutional tenets of equal dignity, equality and non-discrimination. So author is saying that if it is contrary to cultural ethos, right, which is opposing same-sex marriage, so government should be cognizant. Government should be aware that this ignores core constitutional tenets of dignity, equality and non-discrimination. Moving ahead, the Union of India affidavit also seems to misunderstand the contours of the right to privacy. So the affidavit of Union of India seems to misunderstand the contours of the right to privacy as H by Navtej Johar judgment. Right. The government appears to think the verdict only holds true in the private domain of the individual and cannot include a public right of recognition. So it appears that the government is thinking that the domain of the individual, this verdict of whom? Navtej Johar, that is right to privacy, is holds true in the private domain of the individual and cannot include a public right of recognition. So if you do something in your private life so it is acceptable, but that does not mean that it's a public right of recognition, right? Whatever you do in your private time, that is accepted, but it is not that the public should also give the recognition to that particular thing, right? But the 2018 order recognized the right to make decisions about one's intimate life, including the right to love, of which marriage is only an expression. But in 2018 order recognized what? Right to make decision about one's intimate life. Including right to love. So it is right to make decision about one's intimate life. So everyone has their right to make choice for the love. The argument that same-sex and heterosexual relationships are distinct classes is equally concerning. So the argument of what? Same-sex and heterosexual relationships are distinct classes. Right now government and society are seeing that same-sex marriage and heterosexual marriage is distinct classes, but it is equally concerning. Why? It implies that there are different classes of personhood, with heterosexual couples entitled to more rights than same-sex and trans couples. The government may believe that individuals must follow society's moral values, but we believe moral values should align with the constitution, not popular biases. So this is the good line which you can write in the conclusion or as an argument, that the government may believe that individual must follow society's moral value. So government is right that individual must follow society's moral value, but we believe that moral values should align with the constitution and not a popular biases. I knew I was a woman when I was 6 years old. At 16, I left home to escape a torrent of physical and mental abuse. So, at 16, she left home to escape a torrent of physical and mental abuse. My fellow transgender friends and I often battled brutality by the police and intimidation at the hands of authorities due to their prejudice and regressive laws. But we never stopped fighting for our dignity, our equality, and we won't until the rights of LGBTQIA people are affirmed. We have a full faith that the court will deliver justice. So, this was an article on the same-sex marriage and demand for dignity by recognizing this same-sex marriage in the society. So, in this editorial, the author has given 3 judicial rulings and its implication, and on that basis they have challenged the recognition for same-sex marriage and how it is he has explained that how it is affecting their rights, that is article 14, right, and how the Union of India is justifying its opposition, right. And even also given what an example, as government has opposed on the cultural ethos, there was an example in the history of same-sex love in India as well. So it is not in opposition to the cultural ethos of India. And how it is also a right to associated with right to privacy, right. What same-sex marriage is also right to privacy and having own choice for right to love, which is also abridged by or deprived of these communities. So this author has told that author believe that they are fighting and they will fight until they get their rights from the Supreme Court, and they have full faith in the Supreme Court that court will deliver justice. So thank you guys, it was all about today. Bye bye, signing off for the day. Thank you.